What's up everybody, welcome back to the Art of Crypto, the birthplace of absolutely legendary gains. In this video, and again I'm sorry for disappearing over the course of the weekend, I needed a much needed break, and there was just a lot of brainstorming that I was doing, feeling a little bit of burnout, and hopefully this video makes it to you guys in time before the US market opens. So in this video we are going to discuss like whether or not Bitcoin is going to continue dumping. Is the Evergrande situation going to affect crypto? Is the stock market going to bring crypto down, or is it going to pump? If you just want to find out about how to mitigate all this uncertainty, then make sure you stay till the end of this video. But immediately right before we dive into it, if you haven't already followed me on Twitter at _the Art of Crypto, if there's any market updates that I do not have time to make a video on, I will post it on Twitter. So if you want to get the latest market updates, make sure you follow me on Twitter at _the Art of Crypto. So immediately right off the bat, let us discuss what is happening to Bitcoin right now. So if you just take a look at the B-ball, right, it is pumping, and every time Bitcoin volatility goes back into support, you always want to be careful, especially this 1.8 like 1.9 support. And for those of you who want to just copy and paste my Bitcoin volatility support and resistance lines, feel free to do so. It's at 1.93, 6.1-ish, about 9-ish, and about 16, right? So all of these is just, support and resistance lines. You can see how many times BVOL, and by the way, BVOL just tells you when a big move is about to happen, and I will discuss the reason for the big move later. But for now, the charts tell us that, hey, whenever BVOL gets into support, you always want to be careful, right? You always just want to de-risk a little bit and prepare, like just sit on the sidelines a little bit for direction to, be established before you jump into it. And oftentimes what you will find is that this tends to happen during the weekly close and open, or the monthly close. So these times are really just points of interest where respective parties, or many parties, would be interested in getting into a position on Bitcoin. So this is when volatility is going to be at its highest. Now I hope you realize, but like every time we get a monthly, a weekly, or even a daily close, it's often during those times when the market is the most volatile. So you always want to pay attention to that. So as for the reason why Bitcoin is dumping right now is because of Evergrande. Now, Evergrande is the Chinese, real estate company, and they are going through a lot of, bad stuff right now. And there is a chance that, this could play out like the Lehman Brothers back in the 2008 financial crisis. And probably not the best person to talk about this, but what you simply need to understand from this is the fact that the markets, right, they are correlated. The crypto market is correlated to the stock market. That's why sometimes I talk about the SPX, I talk about the NASDAQ, I talk about DXY, because it's correlated. And are the Chinese stock market, like is the Chinese stock market correlated to, the US stock market? Generally it isn't, but during times of, just uncertainty and something like a black swan event like we're getting right now with the Evergrande crisis, then yeah, during these times you might find that indeed the Chinese stock market can be correlated to the US stock market. So here's what you need to know. There is one thing that I immediately want you to understand. Now, chances are that this 44k support, right? 44k has historically been a very strong point of support. I mentioned 44k multiple times in my videos, and you can see that so far, every dump, we have managed to hold the 44k support line. However, there is reason for me to believe that 44k is no longer going to hold because of the uncertainty that is surrounding the markets right now. And the next point of support for Bitcoin is going to be somewhere along the lines of 41k 400 to about 40k. Now, am I saying that Bitcoin's going to go to that point? That's not what I'm saying. But because of the uncertainty that is hovering in the markets right now, there is one tip that I would like to give you, and that is do not go on leverage during times like this. So the reason for this is because if you saw this massive liquidation wick over here, right? And again, I was warning you guys back during this point that, funding rates was getting a little bit high and for you guys to de-risk. Hopefully some of you guys listened to me and prevented, the worst of, what happened during this point. And hopefully you guys made a lot of profit when everyone was losing their minds and money. So basically, the reason why I do not suggest you go on leverage right now is because things are just uncertain right now. It's really uncertain, right? When the US stock market opens, is it going to dump? Is it going to pump? Nobody knows. All you can do is just dollar cost average at key support points and just hope for the best, honestly. And the reason why I ask you not to go on leverage is because you don't want to be forced out of the market at a very unopportune moment. So this is what I mean. For anyone who was on leverage during this point, imagine like this wick right here that dropped from basically, so if I just go zoom out a little bit, you can see that this wick right here within the same probably 1 hour window, it dropped by about 23%. And if you just go back to the same day, right, during the day itself, you lost about 31% just within the same day, right? Most people on leverage, they are not going to go on something like 2x leverage or 1x. I mean, you don't really use 1x. So most people, what they do is, I would assume they go on 5x to 10x. Most people even go on 20x. So what happens when you go on leverage, like that kind of leverage, is you are forced to exit the market at a certain point. Even if you think you are playing it safe with 3x leverage, if the market were to drop 30%, there is a very good chance that if Bitcoin drops 30%, your altcoins are going to drop by like 50%. So it doesn't matter what kind of leverage you are using. If you're not using anything like 2x and leaving room to dollar cost average, you are not going to survive the fall. And basically what happens then is you are going to be forced to make, you're going to be forced to exit. And during times like this, when such a good dip buying opportunity presents itself, like when I say good, I mean like really good. Like if you happen to catch the bottom, right? Let's say you didn't catch the bottom, you catched it here, right? Litecoin, you would have bounced 13% within just the next hour. And I don't know about you, but 13%, 10% in an hour is really good for me. So you do not want to be forced to exit the market when you are going to get that kind of a bounce. So my recommendation is only use spot, at least for today, maybe tomorrow. Maybe like on September 21st, you are getting the federal, the feds are going to meet up and there is news, right? Potentially, there is going to be a announcement about tapering, right? And tapering basically just means like they are going to raise interest rates. And it's not like if you want to learn how macroeconomic factors affect crypto, you're going to want to watch the video that I made on the top right. A lot of people say that it is the best video that I've made to date, and I really highly recommend you check that out. It's going to get into how interest rates, are going to affect crypto, and it's just going to give you a very, bird's eye view of the market in general over the course of probably the next few months to a couple of years. Again, I will link it on the top right, but during this video, I do want to discuss that announcement, right? How is it going to affect you? So basically, that announcement, if they really do announce that they are going to be tapering, then crypto is going to dump, right? It not just crypto, but like everything is going to dump because investors do not like to hear that they are raising interest rates. It makes it more expensive to lend money. And when that happens, there is going to be widespread fear throughout the markets. I don't care like what kind of a market it is, there is going to be fear. And when there is fear, prices will drop. And I do not want you to be caught up in something like that. So what if there is no announcement that they are going to be tapering? Well, in that case, nothing positive is going to come out of it. So like there is a potential for you to lose a lot of money and probably a very small chance that you're going to gain much money. So in that case, I would really suggest until the September of 21st, I would really recommend you guys not to overexpose yourself, and most importantly, do not use leverage unless you have a lot of capital and you can afford to, weather through a 50% dump. Other than that, I really do not recommend you use leverage, right? You do not want to be forced out of the markets when you get an eventual bounce. So now let's discuss like what are some next key levels of support for Bitcoin. And I'm just going to cut right through right to the chase. And these key levels of support are going to be at about 41.4k. Honestly, I would start buying here, right? 40k, 38k. And if, right, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but in the event that you get a 34k Bitcoin, right? About 34k. If you get a Bitcoin somewhere about this level, like 34k to about 33.5k. If you get Bitcoin at around these levels, I want you to go heavy. Okay, I think I should rephrase that. It's not that I want you to go heavy, but I would go heavy at about that point. And that is just what I would personally do. I do believe that this is going to be somewhere very close to the bottom, and I would just go heavy on, from that point onwards. And the reason why I mentioned like 38k and it like just 36k and 34k ish is just like if you draw a fib retracement from this swing low to this swing high over here, you can see that the golden pocket, which is the 0.618 retracement level, does fall somewhere about 38.4k. So that So let me just move this price just a little bit higher so that you guys can see that, right? That everything lines up, right? You use the fibs. I did not make these levels from reading the fibs, but I will use the fib as secondary confirmation of, just for my entries. And you can see that it lines perfectly up, right? 38k, 36k, and 34k. If you do get Bitcoin, I do not expect Bitcoin to get to this level today. I don't think it will happen that quickly. But if you do get to that level, I want you to go in heavy, right? Sorry, I would go in heavy at these 3 levels while continuing to dollar cost average starting at 41.4k. This is what I would personally do on Bitcoin. And if you are looking at altcoins, I want you to time your altcoin entries along with, just following these guidelines, right? When Bitcoin gets to 41.4k, maybe you enter some part of your altcoins, right? It can be anything. But me personally, I would focus on altcoins such as Avalanche, right? Atom, you got Phantom, you got Solana, you've got Chainlink, right? FTT even, right? If Solana moves, FTT tends to follow as well. So these are sort of like the 6 altcoins that I would really focus on. And the reason for that is because these altcoins, even throughout these uncertain market conditions, they have been really, really strong. And I do believe that in the event that we do get a massive dump, that these coins are going to have the best chances of recovering, right? Of making a recovery. And all you do is you just time your entries with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is the mama bear. Especially during times of uncertainty like this, everything's going to be pegged to Bitcoin hard. If Bitcoin's dumping, there is nothing that's going to be moving properly. So just keep that in mind. This is what I would personally go for, right? And the second tip, I know you guys didn't come to this video for tips, but I really hope this kind of advice will, I do think that this kind of advice will really help you guys out. And that is, just remember that whenever you get to a point where fear is at its highest, right? I want you to think of it this way. You could even equate these, green candles and red candles as just euphoria, right? Optimism and fear, right? When the price is like, when you get big red candles, that means that fear is potentially pretty high. And when you are getting lots of blue, lots of green, then, chances are that people are really, really optimistic. And if you just think about it that way, then what you want to do is, if you notice, the biggest profits, period, are made during times of the maximum amount of fear, right? You always want to get really excited during maximum fear, right? And for me personally, I do think that these 3 levels over here, if we do get here, right, during this one move, I'm not expecting it to move that much, but if it does, then this is going to be the 3 points of maximum fear. And I do believe that Bitcoin's going to have a really strong chance of bouncing back from that point onwards. But whatever the case, I just want you guys to just dollar cost average. Me personally, I have already started buying at around this point, even though I do not think that this level is going to hold. But at the end of the day, nobody knows for certain that something is going to go where, right? I can make educated guesses. I can make pretty good guesses. In fact, I'm right a lot of the time with these guesses. But at the end of the day, I cannot say that I am 100% certain that this is going to happen. So what I will do is I will simply dollar cost average, right, at key levels. And in this case, 44k is a key level. It has been a key level and it continues to be a key level. So that is just a little bit of insight of, how I approach the markets. And again, when you are dollar cost averaging, what you just want to keep in mind is, if you had, let's say, $10,000 to play with, I would just split my $10,000 up into portions, right? Maybe I would split it up into $500 portions, right? And maybe over here, I'll go in with 1 portion. So that's about $500. Over here, I'll go in with another portion, right? So that's $500. But the lower the price goes, I'm going to increase the amount of portions that I'm buying. So in this case, I'm going to buy 2 portions over here. So that would bring it up to $2,000, right? And then over here, I might go for 3 portions. And then here, I'll get to 5 portions. And then over here, finally, I'll probably just throw in like 7 portions at, one of these points. And doing so will allow you to secure the most optimal entry regardless of where the price goes. And that's how pretty much every trader that knows what they're doing, that's how they trade. So just keep that in mind. And I really hope you guys stay safe during this time. And if you found that this video has been helpful to you, it would help me so much if you could just drop a like button. It's a small gesture, but it really helps me a lot. So one other thing that I really do want to discuss is the fact that funding rates are still, for a very large part, very, very neutral, which means that I do not, this is the reason why I'm not expecting like Bitcoin to dump like super hard to, you know, the super low levels. And that's the reason why I'm dollar cost averaging even over here. It's because of funding rates, right? But at the end of the day, right now, the markets today are moving, right? The markets today and tomorrow, and probably the day after tomorrow, is probably going to be moving in accordance to stuff that's happening on the stock market. And in that case, you might argue that, hey, it doesn't matter if, you know, funding rates are high. If the market goes into widespread fear and panic, it doesn't matter if funding rate is high. Everything's just going to dump. And yes, I do agree on that part, but you cannot be too safe, right? So it's just a scenario that you want to keep in mind. If you go there, then perfect, right? Then you guys would be prepared, because I've given you like super contingent, like these are going to be some optimal prices to buy Bitcoin. And if it doesn't happen, oh well, you know, you dollar cost averaged starting from here. And hey, if it pumps, then yay, that's a good thing. And before I get into the bonus for this video, like as a thank you for watching until this point, I just want to discuss just one thing, and that is going to be moon phases. So if we go on to the 15-minute, the full moon is actually going to occur today, right? I don't remember if it's the full moon or the new moon, but what I do understand is I usually just name it like a bearish moon and a bullish moon. So what you're seeing right now is moon phases, and I know it sounds really like just woo-woo stuff, but this stuff works, and you can see how accurate this thing is, how much the markets correlate to moon phases. You could see that every time you get a bullish moon, I don't remember if this is a full moon or a new moon, but just call it a bullish moon, because that's what we all care for, right? Just tell us where the price is going to go. So in this case, you can see that every time you get a bearish moon, it sort of forms like a local top, right? Except for incredibly bullish situations where, you know, during this time it was super bullish, so this didn't really play that much of a role. It still caused a little dip, right? It still caused a little dip, but it wasn't like world-ending kind of dip. And you can see how much the markets correlate to just this, right? And at the moment, today, later today, or I don't remember if it's later today or tomorrow, but we are getting the bullish moon very, very soon. So this right here, this theory right here actually just, you know, adds confluence to our theory that, hey, maybe we're not going to get a massive dip, and maybe, just maybe, we're going to get a pump. So just based off the moon phases theory, then that means that we should actually prepare for a nice little pump before we dump, right? So if you watch this video, like just keep that in mind. And if you have watched until this point of the video so far, it would, you know, it would be great if you could just comment down in the comment section moon, so that I know who are the real ones who have stayed and got this bonus. But that is not your only bonus. Right now, I'm going to give you, you know how when I mentioned that there are 6 coins over here, I'm actually going to give you the sniper entry that I called in my private Discord group. Now again, if you want more of these sniper entries, I'm only going to be giving you 1, but if you want the rest, or maybe you just want to get access to all the trading setups that I'm posting here, maybe you want to follow along with the 10k to 100k challenge that I'm doing inside the group, maybe you want to just learn how to do this yourselves and get access to this trading course where you will learn how to do the things that I do, and make sure you discard 90% of the things that don't work and, you know, just get results like I do. If that sounds like something you're interested in, you're definitely going to want to check out the private Discord group. Over here, you're going to get access to profitable trading setups literally every single day. And for real, we are making money literally every day. Like, watch this. Now that is a really, really good short on FTM. And, you know, what can I say? You're probably going to pay this Discord group off really, really quickly, as many people have done in this Discord group. Not only that, but if you always find yourself, you know, panicking during times of uncertainty and you don't really know what to do, then this is where I'm going to be sharing the latest, real-time market updates. I'm going to be there to guide you through it. I'm going to tell you, hey, what are we expecting today? Whether or not you should be aggressive, whether or not you should buy, you know, just stuff like that. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, make sure you check out the private Discord group. But without any further ado, let's get into the Solana limits. And these are limits that I have set. Like, these are just limits where I would personally be buying Solana at. And I do believe that if you buy Solana at any of these 3 points right here, ignore this this 50, like the $60 range. If you do buy Solana at any of these 4 levels, then, you know, probably 3 levels at this point. Yeah, these 3 levels, which is 120, 98, and 80. if you do get Solana at any of these 3 levels, I do believe Solana is going to bounce from that point. And in fact, Solana might be about to take off again at that point. So the limits are going to be 120, 98, and 80. This is something that I called in my private Discord group before I even called it on, on YouTube because of time constraints. And remember, if you do want to get access to all the trading setups, especially the sniper trades, which is something I am well known for, then you're going to want to check out the private Discord group. Now, if you do manage to get Solana at any of these levels, right, you could add in 108 if you want to. I personally wouldn't. This could be a level. But anyways, if you do get Solana at any of these levels, then you're just going to want to take your profit in partials. And what I mean by that is just taking your profit as the price is going up. You want to treat all of these white lines as, take profit targets, reference points. You never want to take your profit one shot somewhere, because that's simply not what, good traders do. And what we do is, on the way up, maybe we take 25% here, we take 25% here, we take 25% here, and we take the rest here, right? Just an example. So you're going to want to use all of these, right? Once you fill it in here, all of these levels above are going to act as resistance. So make sure you just mark them down, right? These levels, again, I'm just going to repeat it, is going to be 80, 90, 98, 108, 119, or like 120, 135, 149, 170, 190, and 215, right? These are going to be the levels that you're going to want to mark down. Remember, I'm giving you the exact levels right now. You can't even be bothered to mark this down on your own charts. There's nothing more that I can do for you, my friend. So with that said, may the gains be with you. Again, if you're interested in the private Discord group, I'm gonna see you inside. But for now, stay safe. I hope this video has been helpful. And make sure you comment the word moon in the comment section so that I know who are the real ones. And yeah, may the gains be with you. Peace.